Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keeping you up to date of what players are linked with Manchester United. So I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Paul Pogba, because there is huge developments on Paul Pogba. I'm also going to be talking with you a bit more about Jadon Sancho, like I mentioned Jadon Sancho this morning, and I've mentioned him on quite a lot of my videos, and also going to be talking with you a bit more about Harry Kane. But the first topic I'm going to start with is Paul Pogba. So recently, Paul Pogba, had given, I think, an interview to the United podcast, and he did actually, reveal out, did Paul Pogba, that, his mother always told him, that, he would return to Manchester United, and also too, Paul Pogba has revealed that his family advised him to, leave Manchester United for Juventus back in 2012, because I think, he did have he had impassioned conversations with his mother and his brother, and all of that. But he basically did say that his mother always knew that he would return to Manchester United. So this is what he had said in an interview on the United podcast. But obviously we did have Paul Pogba when he was a lot younger, under the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, I think he made a couple of first team appearances, but due to limited appearances, we let Paul Pogba go on a free transfer to Juventus. Then obviously, Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years in Turin with Juventus. Then of course, Manchester United, got him back, in 2016 for £89 million. Paul Pogba is our most expensive signing, and of course he's one of the highest paid players at the football club, because he's on around £300,000 a week, is Paul Pogba. And obviously, I think he also mentioned on the podcast about, the injuries, that he's had this season, how, infuriated he has become, he has come, with, his injuries that he's suffered. But he did say, reflecting on the injuries that he's had this season, when the football season does eventually resume, Paul Pogba insists he will come back a lot stronger. So that's obviously, very, very good news. I still believe, that Paul Pogba is going to be leaving Manchester United, when the transfer window does reopen. Obviously, Paul Pogba's being linked with a move to Real Madrid. Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with Paul Pogba. Last summer, of course, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked to him. Actually, last summer, Paul Pogba's priority, was to make a move to Real Madrid. But the main explanation why his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise is reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him. Because, we said we wanted around £180 million, and that's just over double than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016. So, yeah, we wanted £180 million. Real Madrid were not willing to meet that £180 million valuation and that. But yeah, Real Madrid, of course, are looking, to sign more players, despite the fact that they signed around, was it 5 or 6 players last summer and spent around 200 or 300 million pounds. Also Real Madrid are looking to offload players. I think they're looking to get rid of James Rodriguez. They're also looking to get rid of Dani Ceballos on a permanent transfer, and they're also looking to offload Gareth Bale. But yeah, so he wanted to make the move to Real Madrid last summer. But I think if Paul Pogba does leave Manchester United, I think his actual first choice is to make a return back to Juventus and that. And, like I mentioned, swap deals have been on the agenda. Swap deals have been on the agenda, because recently, there was talks of, De Ligt coming to Manchester United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going back to Juventus. There was talks of Aaron Ramsey coming to Man United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going to Juventus. And obviously, earlier on, it was last week, there was talks of James Rodriguez coming to Man United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going to Real Madrid. But yeah, swap deals have been on the agenda, but swap deals are very, very rare in the modern game. But yes, I think, Paul Pogba will leave Manchester United, because he has made this admission as Paul Pogba. So basically, he's got the same perception now as what he had last summer. Yes, he has. But, maybe he could still go to Real Madrid, because like I mentioned, Paul Pogba's got a very, very good relationship with Zinedine Zidane. Also, too, Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he's also, got good relations with Real Madrid. And Mini Raiola, like I mentioned, has been talking a lot since the turn of the year. And, Man United have been very, very critical of him, reflecting on some of the comments he has said. But I think Ed Woodward's had a few negotiations with Mini Raiola over, trying to resolve Paul Pogba's future and to stop Mini Raiola, making a number of public attacks against the club, because he's made a lot of public attacks against the club, since the turn of the year. Now, obviously, Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he actually, came out, I think, last week, and he actually, said that Paul Pogba has got no intentions of buying out the remainder of his contract at Manchester United, because the Sun did report out saying that Paul Pogba could take a fee for transfer regulation, and he could buy out the remainder of his contracts, but I don't think now that's going to be happening, according to Fabrizio Romano anywhere. I think, have we been in negotiations over getting Pogba and, a new contract as it stands at the moment? Pogba's got, 2 years left on his contract, 1 year, but, the club do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. But, there has been a lot of uncertainty over Paul Pogba's future. But, I think we've quoted out how much we want for the player. I think we want at least £100 million for him this summer, because it's very imperative that we get more money than what we paid for him. Obviously, we wouldn't get £100 million, obviously, if there was a player to be involved of Pogba, going to either Real Madrid or Juventus. But disregarding the swap deal, I think we want at least £100 million. But maybe, reflecting on, this coronavirus pandemic and that, maybe we won't get £100 million. We may only get maybe like £60 or £70 million for Paul Pogba. Some reports have actually, said he's only valued at around £31 million. But yeah, since Paul Pogba rejoined Man United from Juventus back in 2016, he's had a long-running transfer saga. Obviously, he enjoyed a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era, because he had a really, really bad relationship with Jose Mourinho. But yeah, so obviously as well, taking into account PSG and Barcelona have also been in for him in the past. Pogba's, I think, won 2 trophies, hasn't he, with a football club? He's won the Europa League and League Cup with us, but he hasn't, experienced winning the Premier League or the Champions League and that with us. But I think definitely, if we fail to qualify for the Champions League, then definitely Paul Pogba will leave the football club. But, there has been a few players on our agenda anyway who could replace Paul Pogba at Manchester United. But us getting rid of him, it will free up our wage bill completely. But yeah, so he gave an interview to the United podcast and that, and, he basically said, his mother's always said, he would return to Manchester United, even though he did leave the club back in 2012 and that. But, Paul Pogba has only played 8 times this season for the football club. 8 times this season he's only played for us. I think the last game he played was on Boxing Day against Newcastle. And the last time he started from the start was back in September. Don't forget, Paul Pogba did have the surgery on his ankle, was it, back in January. But when this football season does eventually resume, I think, Paul Pogba will be back. And to be quite honest with you, I think he'll go well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. I think they'll complement each other fantastically well. But yes, I think his first choice is to make a return back to Juventus. But, Juventus, Mini Raiola, I think, recently held negotiations with Juventus. So that's the latest news on Paul Pogba. I just wanted to give you an update on. Now, let's delve into news on Jadon Sancho. So, according to recent reports, Jadon Sancho is set to choose either Manchester United or Real Madrid. So, they're supposedly one of the clubs is going to join when the transfer window does reopen and that. But, Jadon Sancho, don't forget, did reveal that, he still wants to come to Manchester United. And one of the main explanations why he wants to come to Manchester United is because, obviously, he's got a really, really good friendship with Marcus Rashford. And, Marcus Rashford did reveal that he wants Jadon Sancho at Manchester United next season. Now, obviously, reports were coming out, was it yesterday, saying, that, Man United fans allegedly, expect Jadon Sancho to come in the summer. Because I think he was doing a live session on Instagram yesterday, and I think, quite a few of our fans were following that, and there was some comment that mentioned about sipping water, if he joins Manchester United or not. But I'm not going to fully sure that Jadon Sancho is going to come in, but He's obviously one of our priority targets for the summer transfer window. Could still possibly go to Real Madrid. I don't think Chelsea are no longer in for him now, or he's not interested in making a move to Chelsea. Liverpool have been in for him, but for Sancho, to get game time week in week out, Liverpool would have to sell one of their attacking trio in Salah, Firmino, or Mane. So I don't see that happening, to be quite honest with you. So I think he'll come to Manchester United. I really, really do. He's already made this admission. He wants to leave Borussia Dortmund. He did confirm that back in February. That was stemming from Sky in Germany, and Borussia Dortmund have now come to accept the fact, that Jadon Sancho wants to leave to rejuvenate his career. Now, Borussia Dortmund have got a couple of players on their agenda who could replace Jadon Sancho. Borussia Dortmund, are going to make a huge profit on the player, if he does leave in the summer, because they only paid £7 or £8 million for him from Man City. And obviously, Dortmund have said that they want at least £100 million for him this summer. Probably Man United would have to end up paying £120 million. But I'll reiterate what I've said before. Even with this coronavirus crisis, it's not convincing Dortmund to lower their asking price. They do remain ruthless over their valuation, but I think we're only the club that is willing to meet Borussia Dortmund's asking price. Obviously, we pay £120 million for Sancho. He's going to be our most expensive signing, and he's going to be a record signing in the Premier League and the most expensive British player in history. Man United have been relentlessly linked with him. We've been in contact with his agent for around a couple of months now. Fabrizio Romano broke out that news quite a few weeks ago. And I think it did say, we're willing to offer Jadon Sancho around £400,000 a week. So that's also going to make him the best paid player at the football club. And I think, we're also willing to offer him the iconic number 7. And I think Jadon Sancho, from my own perception, would fulfill that number 7 role really, really well. And, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But, I'm not going to fully sure that he's going to come to Manchester United. But there was reports last week, I think, saying that if we was to fail to get qualification for the Champions League, then, Jadon Sancho would reject a move to Old Trafford. But Sancho would fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because Solskjaer still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players in like he did do last summer. And he's only just recently turned 20 years of age as Jadon Sancho, and he's predominantly a right winger, and like I said, Man United are in search for a right winger. And I think he'd go well alongside Rashford and Anthony Martial in our attacking line. Sancho's now into his 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund. In his 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund, he's been a revelation since his arrival in Germany, despite the fact that he was dropped in quite a lot of games earlier on in the season, was Jadon Sancho. And he's got a contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. So I think actually, he could be our first signing in the summer transfer window. But yeah, so he's going to choose between either Manchester United or Real Madrid. But I think he's going to definitely leave Borussia Dortmund in the summer. Maybe he won't. Maybe he could, remain loyal to Borussia Dortmund for another year. But I don't see that happening, to be quite honest with you. So that's the latest news on Jadon Sancho. Now I do want to give you the news on Harry Kane. I've been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Harry Kane on a regular basis, haven't I? Now, so like I mentioned to you guys yesterday, there was reports coming out saying that, Tottenham will allow Harry Kane to leave this summer, providing that, their asking price is met. Because Tottenham have quoted out that they want a world record fee of £200 million if they are willing, to do business with Harry Kane. Now, it was actually, Daniel Levy, the Tottenham chairman, who said, Tottenham will allow him to go as long as, we're willing to pay the £200 million that they are demanding in that. But now, Sky Sports, they're confirmed earlier on today, and the narrative that's come out of Sky Sports, and I think the BBC as well, which are 2 reliable sources, what's come out of them sources, are totally comparison to the reports that were coming out, was it yesterday? Because they've said now that Tottenham have got no intentions of selling Harry Kane to Manchester United or any other Premier League rival. But, don't forget, Harry Kane did fuel a lot of speculation up, was it, last month? because Harry Kane had come out and made an admission, and he did say he could decide to leave Tottenham if they failed to match his ambition. And as you all know, Harry Kane has revealed his ambition, and his ambition is to win some silverware, and he's not experienced any of this so far during his time with Tottenham. And Harry Kane has been at Tottenham for several years. He's been at Tottenham for several years. He was in their youth academy for a good 4 to 5 years, and I think he's been in Tottenham's senior squad since 2011. And do you think Harry Kane's worth £200 million? Do you think if Man United signed him, do you think he'd be a great addition to the squad? You've obviously had Gary Neville, who's give his verdict on it. He believes that he would be a good signing for Manchester United. Don't forget, after the 1-1 draw with Liverpool earlier on this season, Roy Keane had urged Manchester United to sign Harry Kane. Danny Murphy believes we should go out to sign him. So, people have got different perceptions on that. But Tottenham do remain ruthless over their valuation. Harry Kane is Tottenham's third highest goal scorer in their history. Like I said, Kane's got 181 goals for Tottenham in all competitions. Obviously, he's injury prone, so that is an element of concern because he's sustained quite a few injuries during his Tottenham career. He's obviously been out with a hamstring injury since New Year's Days, Harry Kane. When the football season does eventually resume, he should be back in action. But yeah, he has been out with a hamstring injury. Harry Kane still got 4 years remaining on his current contract with Tottenham. 4 years remaining because he's under contract with them until 2024. Back in the summer of 2018, he'd signed a 6-year deal worth around £200,000 a week. But I think, Kane is open to making a move to Manchester United. So if I think he'll leave Tottenham, but, do you think he could continue applying his trade in the Premier League? Don't forget also too, Real Madrid have been in for Harry Kane. I think Real Madrid have been long admirers of Harry Kane, and like I said to you before, Real Madrid have done business with Tottenham, sorry. They got Gareth Bale from them back in 2013 for 85 million. They also too got Luka Modric from them. But Real Madrid in general anyway have recruited a lot of players from the Premier League since like 2000. But yeah, also too, Juventus have been in for him. They're another club. Man City have also expressed their interest in Harry Kane. And, Tottenham, are open to selling. But I think the reason they want £200 million is because obviously deep down they don't want to lose him. Because Tottenham have lost a few of their imperative players. Don't forget back in January, they'd lost Christian Eriksen to Inter Milan after he endured 7 years with Tottenham. Put into the equation, they'd lost Danny Rose to Newcastle. But without a shadow of a doubt, Harry Kane is Tottenham's best player. Now, Daniel Levy, like I've said on numerous occasions, I think is a very, very hard negotiator, is Daniel Levy, when it comes to recruiting players from Tottenham. But I've got to say, he is a very, very good businessman. Man United have done business with Tottenham before. Revert back to, was it over a decade ago now? We got Berbatov off them. We also got Michael Carrick off them back in 2006. And Michael Carrick endured 12 years with Manchester United. But, I just think Harry Kane just feels so unhappy with Tottenham. Because obviously Tottenham as well, taking into account, can't win anything in terms of silverware this season. And I think Tottenham made a mistake by getting rid of Mauricio Pochettino. I really, really do. But we're seeing Harry Kane as an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But we have got quite a few strikers on our agenda. But there's cheaper solutions than Harry Kane who we can get in. There's other strikers who are cheaper solutions than him. Like I mentioned before, you've got Timo Werner. That's available for around, £50 million. So he'd cost 4 times less than Harry Kane. Erling Haaland, he'd cost around maybe 62 or 63 million, so he's a cheaper solution than Kane. Us getting Ighalo permanently, much cheaper solution than Harry Kane. So what should Manchester United do? That is the question. The beneficial thing as well about, us, possibly, recommending Kane in is that obviously he knows Marcus Rashford very, very well as well, don't forget, because they are both British. They are both British and that. So would you like to see Harry Kane come to Manchester United in the summer? Do let me know. I'm not going to fully disregard it because there is a chance that Man United could sign him. We got Robin Van Persie from Arsenal back in 2012. Didn't look likely at the first that we was going to sign Van Persie, but we did. And then look what he went and did. He enjoyed one good season with the club, Van Persie, because he won us the league back in 2013, reflecting on the goals he scored in Alex Ferguson's last season. So yeah, so that's the latest news on that. And obviously, earlier on today, I was speaking with you about Jack Grealish. He's also another priority target for Manchester United. Grealish will probably cost us in the 60 odd or 70 odd million pound range. Obviously, Maddison's on our agenda, but we're seeing James Maddison as an alternative to Jack Grealish. Also, to Bellingham's been on our agenda. So, Solskjaer has basically revealed his plans for when the transfer market does reopen. He's revealed his plans because Solskjaer has said, he wants to make around 4 signings in the summer because he believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. And I think Solskjaer is planning to get rid of around 5 players in the summer, maybe 6 players in the summer. As you all know, our transfer budget has been revealed. As I said to you before, Solskjaer is going to get given around £150 million to spend when the transfer window reopens. Obviously, the transfer budget will increase, like I said, if Manchester United can sell players in the summer transfer window. But another thing I like about Solskjaer as well, he's got a lot of positivity about him. He tends to never, he's very seldom negative. He always seems to be positive a lot of the time. And he's very, he's very confident, going into this, market when it does reopen, because don't forget, Solskjaer recently said, that we will exploit the transfer market when it does reopen, because Solskjaer is aware that a lot of clubs are under financial pressure in that, and teams will have to offload some of their, players. And it's reflecting on our strong financial position. So Solskjaer believes we can get the right calibre players to Manchester United when the transfer window does reopen. Solskjaer's identified the areas, where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up. Obviously he wants to recommend a centre forward in. He also wants to recommend a right winger in. He wants to recommend a midfielder in. And he also wants to recommend a central defender in. He wants to recommend a central defender in that. So he's identified the areas where he does want to strengthen up. But I do believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager next season. I can definitely share that with you. So far, Solskjaer has been at Manchester United for 16 months. So he has been here over the year. And so far, Solskjaer has enjoyed 3 transfer windows at the club. And he's spent, around £220 million on 5 players. Obviously, last summer he recommended Daniel James in for £15 million. That was Solskjaer's first signing. I think he's done really, really well, Daniel James. Going to be honest with you. Hasn't been brilliant in the last couple of months, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, when football was on. But I think prior to that, he's done well. I've got to say, I think Solskjaer's overplayed Daniel James a little bit. But I think James has played over 30-odd games this season. He brought Wan-Bissaka in as well for £45 million. I've got to say, he's done very, very well. Bissaka's defensive contributions always been very, very good, but before the football season got suspended, we started to see the attacking side of Wan-Bissaka's game. Also, too, we got Harry Maguire in for £80 million. He's the second most expensive signing at the club, and the most expensive centre-half in the world. He's done really, really well, to be fair. And I think Man United, did make the right decision by giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. We're giving the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure. And in January, of course, we got Bruno Fernandes in for around 65 million, with add-ons included. Got to say, Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. 3 goals and is it 4 assists so far. Don't forget, got Premier League Player of the Month for February. He's very instrumental. His decision making is very, very good, and he's been making the difference in the team as Bruno Fernandes. But Solskjaer is looking for someone to partner up with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. Like I updated you, was it recently? Bruno Fernandes has come out and revealed what convinced him to sign for Manchester United, and it was reflecting on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's attitude. So I think Bruno Fernandes has got a lot of faith in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, Scholes as well give his verdict on Bruno Fernandes. but very, very good midfielder. Definitely, the best player we've recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. And of course, he brought Odion Ighalo in on loan on deadline day. So he's made 4 permanent signings, and obviously, he got 1 player on loan. Like I said to you, it's not fully assured as yet that we are going to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. Because obviously, it said recently, that Odion Ighalo has revealed that he's not yet received an offer from Man United to extend his stay at the football club. He said the other week that Odion Ighalo wanted to stay at Manchester United. It's been revealed how much it'll cost us to get him permanently. It will cost us around £15 million to get him permanently, but that is a cheap solution. If Ighalo had been like 4 to 5 years younger, then maybe, it would have cost us quite a bit more than £15 million. But got to give Ighalo credit because I think he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He has 4 goals in three games, is it, or something like that. He's a good cover up to Rashford. And his hold up play is good, and he's totally comparison to our other attacking players, is Odion Ighalo. But maybe we won't get him on a permanent transfer. Don't forget Shanghai Shenhua, his parent club, the other week they came out and offered him 400 grand a week plus a 2-year contract extension, to try and convince him to turn down a permanent move to Man United. So, got to credit, the players, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has brought in so far. Like I said, I think a total of 9 players have left, since he got recommended in. But for me, Solskjaer does deserve at least a couple of more transfer windows, because I'll reiterate what I said before, analysing the vast majority of this team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. And I think, Solskjaer needs to follow Ferguson's method of building the next great Manchester United team. That's what I think, he needs to do. But, like I said, not every manager settles in straight away. Like I said, Ferguson, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club when we recommended him in from Aberdeen. But look what he went and accomplished after not winning out in his first 4 years. We won the vast majority of our silverware under Alex Ferguson and that. And Ferguson also, too, did develop a lot of young players. And got to say, Solskjaer does replicate Ferguson in that aspect, because, Solskjaer's also developing now a lot of young players at the football club. And, Jurgen Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool and that. And I know you can say like, Solskjaer's inexperienced as a manager. Yeah, he is inexperienced as a manager, because Man United is the 3rd club he's managing in his managerial career. Obviously, before he came to us, he was at Mould. To be fair, he did well at Mould. He won a couple of Norwegian titles, didn't he, with Mould. Obviously, before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. He began his managerial career with Cardiff, but Solskjaer enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. I think he only managed around 29 games, was it, for Cardiff? The main explanation why he got sacked from Cardiff is because he, got them relegated. And don't forget, we was facing a relegation battle earlier on in the season. So, but the longer Solskjaer remains in the Man United job, he's going to be gaining more experience anyway. When Solskjaer got the job permanently, he did sign, was it a 3-year contract? Obviously, he's been permanent Man United manager now for a year, so he's got like 2 years now remaining on his contract. But the main explanation why we give Solskjaer the job permanently is reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager in that. Won his first 8 games, won 14 out of 19 in all competitions, so that was enough to give him the job permanently. Since he got the job permanently, let's take into account, his record has been disastrous. This season we've enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. But another thing I credit Solskjaer for, I think, he's promoted the youth very, very well. The young players have been given their opportunities this season. You've had like Greenwood getting his chances. He's done well this season, Greenwood. He can play as a number 9, you can play him on the right. I'd say he's a backup at the moment. Williams, he's still inexperienced. I'd say Williams is a backup to Luke Shaw. Tuanzebe did well early on this season. James Garner, I think he should get more opportunities next season. Seldom played this season. Angel Gomez, I think we're trying to get Angel Gomez a new contract. Chong, he's now staying at the club. He should get more opportunities going on into next season. But it's good, that the young players have been given their opportunities in that. But, like I said, analysing it throughout the course of this season, we've had some good results and we've also had some bad results. got to say, Solskjaer's approach to the big games have been very, very good, and he's been credited for that because we've registered like 17 points against the big six sides this season. I still don't think Solskjaer yet though knows his best formation. He doesn't know, he doesn't know his best formation. He doesn't know his best formation, and I don't know if he knows the right style and stuff like that. So that's something he will have to look into. But I think, from my own perception, we look more. We look better with a 3-5-2 formation. 3-5-2 formation because we look more expansive with that 3-5-2 formation. But on a regular basis this season, we have been going with that 4-2-3, 4-2-3-1 formation. But from my perception, that doesn't seem to suit our standards. But yeah, and also too early on this season, we had a lot of doubts about, the club's ownership. A lot of United fans, including me as well, were criticising Ed Woodward. So there's been various issues at the football club. And in the last 6 or 7 years, we've had different managers with different philosophies. Hell of a lot of money's been invested into the club. Nearly in the £1 billion range, I think we've spent. Over 30-odd players have been recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. But even though we have been so inconsistent for several years now, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. And we get the right players in, I think we can challenge for the league next season, and we can enjoy a better season next season than what we've enjoyed this season. But before all the football got suspended, we was unbeaten we was in a good run of form, and we are, I think, unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions and that. So yeah. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop me comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.